All right, guys, thank you for joining me. Appreciate it as always. All right. So, anyway, sorry for running late. Of course, I'm like working out and I'm looking at the time. I'm like, I can do this. No, I couldn't. I was laying on the floor like an old man, like waiting for Life Alert to come and bust through the doors. But anyway, uh, Mr. Landfill, Anthony, AllPower thing for the 5x5. First and last, Sorsha, Supernova thing for the 5x5. Kimberly, Love, Groundhog, Flown Grown, Love Pug. Matt, thank you for the 5x5. Nostra, Toto, thank you for the 5x5. Bug Out, James, Dobie, Ozark, Maria, Teddy, Trapper Bob, Love. Again, Love My Baby, excuse me, thank you for the 5x5. Let's see. Todd, Standalone, Mary, Raccoon, John, Skydive, what's going on? Big Earn, thank you for the 5x5. Chicken, Jass, what's going on? Patriot, Bobby, Snap, Crackle, and Smile. Icicle, thank you for the 5x5. Sea Wolf, Jane, thank you for the 5x5. McBean, thank you for the 5x5. Be Real, Jeep Dog, Miss Nancy, Love Pug, AZ, Dan Phillips, J Corn, thank you for the 5x5. Godzilla, Kenzo, a lot of people on tonight, it looks like, at least in the beginning. Ken, thank you for the 5x5. Thank you for the Taco Bell by Taco Bell. Jason, thank you for the RNN by RNN. Prep to Adapt. Dan Phillips, JF Enterprise. Edmund, thank you for the 5x5. Mike Jones, Kathy, Patriot, thank you for the 5x5. All right. I think that's enough. All right, no, John, some random. Elsa, thank you for the 5x5. Water Tiger, Lori, Anton, 2x4. Thank you for that. Brandon, thank you for the 5x5. Thank you for coming back, Brandon. Appreciate it. And all right. Let's see. Where are we? After the show. Sorry, guys. Anyway, let me check Rumble real quick. Yeah, so now I was on the floor. I was doing push-ups, and I bent my knee the wrong way, and I was like, holy shit. Felt like an old man. Felt like I was screaming. I almost started laughing at myself. It was that bad. Mike Jones, I got this from Gear Up. Can I read that right? Yeah, right. Gear Up. Or Roundup. Ranger Up, sorry. Ranger Up. Go to rangerup.com and you'll see the t-shirts there. We got a lot of cool t-shirts on there. Anyway, until I could find a reputable t-shirt company, I want to start doing t-shirts again, but whatever. No, I didn't get the herpes off the chair yet. First of all, it's not herpes, it's leprosy. It's number one. It's amazing how the shit's still peeling off this chair. Anyway, Ken says you're getting old. Big time. Big time. But I realized that the stretching and mobility work that I do has been keeping me out of the old age home. So there is that. All right, guys. So tonight, war report, if you will. Obviously, this is getting a hell of a lot worse than we thought. But what's getting worse is what I talked about the other night: the energy lockdown. So apparently, there was a PDF that I'm going to put in the description section after this. I'm also going to put it in the chat so you guys can read it for yourself. A lot of the stuff in there is worst case scenario, but they talked about worst case scenario somewhere else. I can't remember where. And they talked about like how cold it's going to get for the summertime, for example, or wintertime. Sorry, and people are going to have to deal with the cold. And why am I hanging on to the chair if anybody's asking? Because it's still a good chair. Why would you throw away a perfectly good chair? Because the skin's falling off? I mean, like, that doesn't make sense to me. I'm probably also cheap, but these are like the last of the chairs, man. These new chairs, they're cheap. People are going through like these office chairs, like, every couple of years, 5 years. This shit's been around almost 20 years now, if not 20 years. And it's solid, man. They don't make shit like this anymore. You don't throw it away. I know I'm starting to sound like the old man who wants to hang on to everything. But that's what happens when you get old. You start hanging on to shit. You start saying shit like your dad used to say. These things are not made the way they used to be. You know, I'm starting to say that shit now. The chair will definitely survive the first strike. I might not, but the chair will. So, Zumba. Yeah, this is what happens when you get older, guys. Fucking welcome to the old man train. Because, yeah, shit's just, it is what it is. I can't even argue it. I can't even argue, a lot of this shit anymore. Well, in regards to getting old, sorry. But anyway, let's get back to what's going on. So, like I said before, guys, the IEA, the International Energy Agency, there's so many agencies out there, it's insane. But they have a PDF, and their PDF is a warning as to what's coming and what's happening and all of the bullshit. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the deployment of special forces in the Middle East. Nobody is saying, in a psychosis over the chair, nobody is saying that they're there. We know that they're going there, but nonetheless, they're moving special forces units to the Middle East, along with, I think, a battalion or two, or a battalion of Marines, and I think a battalion of Army, combat guys. So there's a lot of shit being moved around, and, everybody's trying to play stupid. We know where they're going, right? Anyway. Denture grip in my bug out bag. Not yet, but I'm probably going to need it in a little while. But that's a different story. Anyway, guys, let's get on with because we got a lot to cover tonight, and I don't want to, go on a rant or talk about stupid other shit like my chair. But anyway, ground forces are being moved. Delta Force, Navy SEALs, Task Force 160th. That's that aviation, I think, Night Stalker unit, I think. The 75th Ranger Regiment, along with the Marine MEU, are all being sent to the Middle East within the next 48 to 72 hours. Actually, I copy and pasted this 2 days ago, so they should be in the Middle East right now, or gearing up to get there. Excuse me. Oh, boy. Looking at my battery, I'm like, why is my battery low? Anyway. All right, so within 72 hours, multiple area vehicles are also being sent to the Middle East along with special forces. The Marine Expeditionary Unit is a rapid response force that typically consists of 2,200 Marines and is designed to handle various missions, including amphibious operations. Currently, the 31st MEU is being deployed to the Middle East to support operations amid ongoing tensions with Iran. So there is that. And again, this went from a couple of days to a couple of weeks. This is absolutely going to go over in it's just going to go for another month or two, or longer than that, excuse me. And if we send in ground troops, this is absolutely going to turn into some shit. So, for those that were saying he's not sending any ground troops in, listen, again, guys, a lot of this shit that I look up, I research, you could do it yourself. If you think I'm lying, you think I'm making it up, you think I'm, fluffing it or whatever, you can absolutely look it up yourself. And you'll see exactly what's out there. And you'll see multiple articles on it as well. So just keep that in mind. But I will be selling T-shirts. I just got to find another avenue. But anyway, all right, guys. So also update the Gerald Ford, the USS Gerald Ford. Supposedly, the backstory on that is that it was sent to Greece for monthly maintenance duties or some shit like that. Right, it's one of the largest aircraft carriers in the United States Navy, and this thing went offline March 23rd. It was docked in Souda Bay in Crete, Greece, for scheduled port call to conduct maintenance and repairs following the laundry fire room. Now, the laundry fire room was a lot bigger than they originally were reporting, by the way. And the laundry fire room destroyed a lot of the sleeping quarters of the guys, the navalmen, I guess, right? And so this ship is going to be out of commission for the next year. Now, a laundry fire room if it was just contained in the laundry, I don't think they would have needed to take it offline in the middle of a war or operation. So apparently, it wasn't a laundry fire room. Apparently, supposedly, sorry, it was hit with a missile of some kind, and that's where the fire was. It wasn't. It didn't start in the laundry room. The rumor is the United States government doesn't want to say that Iran hit it because um, it would definitely embolden them. I guess I don't know, but outright lying about it is just strange. And again, I mean, could the laundry room been the issue? Yes, but it's the way that fire was roaring. I don't think it was what you call it. I don't think it was a laundry room fire. All right, guys, if you do not mind, hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down, whatever floats your boat. If you don't like me today, that is fine. Do what you need to do. All right, so on March 12th, the Ford suffered a catastrophic fire that took 30 hours to extinguish, displacing 600 sailors who lost their living quarters. The ship is now docked in Greece for defense analysis. Okay, in docked in Greece. For what defense analysis warned could be a repair and maintenance period of 12 to 14 months. This is not a minor setback. This is the U.S. Navy's total carrier fleet, standing at 11 ships. 3 are currently deployed and in active service. 2 are in post-development maintenance. 4 are scheduled for repair. In other words, America's indispensable global power projection now rests on the dangerously thin bench, or thin line, excuse me. They only have like one other battleship out there or one smaller carrier out there by Iran. So again, that doesn't look good. The 82nd, Airborne Ground Forces are being deployed to the Middle East as well. I forgot to mention that in the earlier thing. The element of the 82nd Airborne are poised to deploy to the Middle East amid the U.S. and Israel war with Iran, according to sources familiar with the situation. Update: the 82nd Airborne is currently there. All right. The deployment is set to include both a headquarter unit and ground combat forces. The headquarter company are around 250 personnel, would handle logistics, coordination, operational planning for the deployment. Fewer than 1,500 troops would be deployed, the sources said. It's actually, I think the number jumped to 2,000 troops now, from 1,500 to 2,000. So that means, guys, something is absolutely happening. Also, coincidentally, I think it was today or yesterday, the Army upped the age of recruitment, right? So I think it was 31 or 36. Now it's 42. COINTELPRO. You realize all the high subscriber YouTube channels are COINTELPRO. That's interesting, Paul. Interesting you said that. Anyway, one brigade, about 3,000 soldiers of the 82nd Airborne, are constantly on standby as an immediate response force, or was it IRF, right? Tasked to be able to deploy anywhere in the world within 18 hours. That's pretty fast. All right. So here is a ugly rumor going around, and I say this because with the deployment of troops being moved around and Trump making a weird threat after getting a gift from Iran, which doesn't make sense. You got a gift from Iran, but then the next day you threaten to whatever. Anyway, the rumor is right now is that Trump is toying with the idea of launching a nuke or hitting Iran with a nuke, specifically Tehran. He wants to hit that city with a nuke. That's the rumor that's going around. There's one side of me that doesn't believe it because I'm like, that would set off a cascade of events that would lead to an all-out world war. Even I know that, right? We can gift Rosie to Iran. Oh, no, dumbass. We could. We can give Rosie to. That would be awesome. Here goes your nuclear weapon, Rosie O'Donnell. Anyway, that's an ugly rumor, and I hope it's not true. And being that he's moving this many troops around, not him, but the military is moving this many troops around, that could be false, because why would you move that many troops around and then launch a nuke? That doesn't make any sense, right? So the ground invasion is probably going to happen. I think it's going to be sooner than a month. Some people think it's another 4 weeks. Some people think it's 2 weeks. I think he's trying to give Iran a little more wiggle room. And wiggle room meaning he's letting Iran know that he's moving troops into the Middle East, and maybe he's trying to scare them. But Iran doesn't look like they're going to waver at all, like at all. But yeah, that's the rumor that's going around. All right, all right, all right. So this is again, the nuclear math that's being done with Tehran, right? So if I'm not mistaken, Tehran has a population of 10 million people. If he was to drop the nuke, 500,000 would be dead in seconds if a 15 kiloton Hiroshima-style bomb was dropped on them. That's the smallest. I thought we had a smaller tactical nuke. Anyway, 1.5 million dead within days. That's a conservative estimate. Tehran, like I said, has 10 million people, 28 times more than Hiroshima. 20-kilometer radius radiation fallout rate. They say silent, invisible, all of the bullshit, but we all know what fallout is. Modern bombs are 1,000 times more powerful than the Hiroshima, if I'm not mistaken. Iran has 50 kilogram weapon grade uranium, enough for 2 nuclear bombs right now. That's bullshit. Nuclear breakout time, 4 weeks per the IAEA March 26 report. IAEA chief said the war cannot erase Iran's nuclear knowledge. Iran does not have nuclear, they have nuclear knowledge. They do not have 60 kilogram of weapon grade uranium. The IAEA had already stated that. Our own intelligence already stated that, and U.S. spies already stated that. In Libya, and I'm not mistaken, French now, all said that they did not have any kind of weapons grade for weapons. So, all of that to say, guys, is that if they're going to drum up the story that they have nuclear weapons, and this is why he's doing it, obviously Russia and China are going to get involved. And they're going to get involved in a way we don't want them to get involved. Right now, they're sitting on the sidelines, and they might be helping out here and there, but they're not involved. If they get involved, this is going to go sideways in such a hurry. And there's no apology big enough to take back launching a nuclear weapon in Iran. Ryan and, what you call it? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The nuclear weapon part, Iran doesn't have it. Again, it's already been confirmed numerous times. So all the other shit and this is supposed if we drop a nuke on Tehran. This is not definite. We haven't dropped anything on a city like this since Hiroshima. I know that Tehran has tall buildings and things like that, so we don't know what exactly it's going to do, unless it's an air burst, and then that's a different ballgame. Anyway, it will be on U.S. soil. Anything that happens on U.S. soil, I think is going to, I will die on this hill, will be the United States or Israel, right? Remember, 5 dancing Israelis. Always remember that, during 9/11, China will help them like we helped the Ukraine. Yeah, listen, I understand that. By the way, I did see a video of Trump talking about ending the Ukraine war in 24 hours when he became president again. That video just popped up. I was like, look at this. Talking about ending the war in Ukraine. Meanwhile, didn't even look at Ukraine, started some shit with Iran. Right, again, World War III is going to start right out of the gates if this happens to Tehran. Right out of the gates. Listen, a lot of people are going to sit there and say, what are you talking about? They have nuclear weapons. There's zero proof that they have nuclear weapons other than hearsay or somebody saying some shit. Right? They said the same thing about Iraq. They said Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. They actually never said nukes. They said weapons of mass destruction. They said, and I quote, he was moving his nuclear material, or rather his weapons of mass destruction around underground. They didn't even have tunnels like that. And yet the American public believed it, including myself. Now they want us to believe, again, that their nuclear weapons, or they have the capability of building, what did they say? 2 nuclear weapons. The fuck out of here. Even if they had the uranium, it takes fucking a couple of months to a year to build a nuclear weapon. At least Iran's capability, it takes that long, right? You have to do all of these testings. There's a lot of shit that goes into building a nuclear weapon. You just don't fashion yourself up a nuclear weapon and go, look at this. It doesn't work that way. There's a lot of fucking work. There's a lot of steps that go into building a nuclear weapon, even with technology today. People like, oh, they'll just fashion it up just like that out of thin air. It's the stupidest fucking ideology, and yet the people who believe this bullshit, they believe this bullshit. They're slightly retarded or whatever it is. I don't know what to tell you, but a lot of this shit is lies. And I am shocked, guys, that for all of the conservatives and all of the MAGA and all of the right-leaning people who didn't believe Biden and his lies, and his lies were bad. They were extremely bad. The Biden administration, that whole administration, those are some bad lies. Those are some ugly, stupid lies. Like, the idiots believed it. But then when the Trump administration started lying and the right started believing it, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This is just, I'm going to get into that because it's just going to piss me off. But no, guys, that that is a rumor that's on the table. Not saying that it's going to happen. I'm just saying it's an ugly rumor. The only reason, the only part of me that believes it is because it's this administration. And the way that Pete Hegseth was talking the other day about destroying and killing the enemies, and I was like, I don't know, man. I don't like that. I didn't like it at all. So this administration, I think because they don't want egg on their face, I think they're going to push the envelope. That's if you ask me. I hope I am fucking wrong. And Rogue, yes, thank you for that. They've been on the verge of nuclear weapons for 20 years, if not a little longer, right? Benjamin Netanyahu. They're going to, any day now, any week, next month, and a year, then, a couple months go by. 12 months from now, they're going to have it. No, 4 weeks, maybe 2 days, they'll have it up and running. They're going to have it operational. We heard this shit time and time again. And some reason, this administration believed it. Not the Biden administration, this administration. That leads me to believe that Israel has something on Trump. They have to have something on Trump for him to blindly believe a country that consistently lies. They're consistent liars, Israel. They just lie about every fucking thing. They lied about October 7th. They actually, Benjamin Netanyahu sacrificed his people for that bullshit. I will say that with a full fucking chest as well. There are IDF soldiers right now who are saying that October 7th was let to happen because just how the country runs, that bullshit went down. No fucking way. No way. I'm not gonna sit here and believe. Like when I heard it happen, I was like, oh man, that's fucked up. But then I thought about it. I was like, this is Israel. They have the best intel. They have IDF soldiers at every single spot in Israel. To get to that battle location should not have taken 4 hours. A lot of stuff going on. And that was by far the biggest lie. People believed it. Julia's like, you suck. Listen, it's okay that I suck, but I'm not wrong. Just putting it out there. I like when I have people breaking my balls. Yeah, like I said, October 7th, man. And the thing is, I get why people believed it because they started pulling at the emotional heartstrings, right? The emotional strings are like pulling on them, and people are like, oh my God, the Israelis, they were attacked by these people on bullshit wing device, like parasailing devices. Are you fucking kidding me? Those things are slow. They're not fast by any stretch of the imagination. They're fucking like really slow. You could throw a rock and hit these fucking dudes. And you mean to tell me that's how they attack the country? Get the fuck out of here. I'm like, and again, there are people that believed it. And you argue with Jews about this. They're like, they attacked us. I'm like, no, Benjamin Netanyahu attacked you. He let that happen. Why was he being brought up on charges for some kind of corruption bullshit in his country? The next day, they fucking attack. Then Trump gets in the presidency, and Trump is asking the Israeli president, hey, can you give him a pardon, please? A pardon for what? If he didn't do anything, what does he need a pardon for? And then, if I'm not mistaken, he got the pardon. They treat us like we're stupid. The problem is there's a lot of stupid people out there that believe this shit. Juliet says you're 100% wrong, and how can you call yourself a prepper? You're still living in New York City. Juliet, because I live on the fucking edge, man. I live on the edge. I live for this shit. I like chaos. That's my thing. Though my chaotic days are coming to an end soon, yeah. But I'm not 100% wrong on the Israel attack. I tell you that much. And Wounded Puma said you're way off base. No, I'm not. Like I said, I thought it was odd, and IDF soldiers backed it, confirmed it. They said there's no fucking way that attack happened the way it did. And even if it did, that means they told troops to stand down before going in so that the body count can get higher, right? And again, this is coming from IDF soldiers that live there. All right, so listen, you can argue with me all you want. I'm taking this shit from people who work that's their wheelhouse. They live there. They live there. They know what's going on. And then you had Charlie Kirk even saying the same shit. Same shit. So, yeah, man. Juliet, go change your tampon, get some bonbons. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. Your face is chaotic. It is chaotic. I know. But anyway, on to the more important shit, guys. So outside of all of that, ground troops are probably going to go on ground or into Iran in the next week or so. I think 2 weeks. I also think that maybe, like I said earlier, he's giving them a little bit of wiggle room to back out and be like, all right, we want peace. There is that. Do they even make bonbons anymore? Because I keep mentioning that shit, and I don't know if they make it anymore. Not that I'm going to run out and get any either, because no, no, man. But so here Flown Grown, thank you. That was good. But sometimes you guys come out with some fucking left field shit. It's funny. Kenzo, yes, it was definitely staged. That's the whole thing. Or rather, it was allowed to happen. Is that better? Jason, what's worse is you agree with it. David Locke, what do I agree with? That's what I don't understand. Nation without gas will get pissed. Yeah, the Watchmen, absolutely. But yeah, listen, man. If a lot of people are starting to come to the same conclusion, there's something there. That's all I'm gonna say. Right, all I'm going to say is homemade bonbons. No. Anyway, let's move on to something a little more important, and that's probably going to affect us here in some time. Right now, a lot of this that's being done with the energy lockdown or the energy shock and how to avoid it is over in the in Europe and the United Kingdom, actually, and New Zealand and Australia are also taking part of this lockdown, and so are a lot of Asian countries. All right, so this energy lockdown right now is going to get bad, and it's going to get bad fast. Right now, as it seems, all the countries that are implementing these things are voluntary, with the exception of telling the workers to stay home. That's another issue altogether. And I don't like where that's going, the whole stay-at-home shit. I really don't like it because we're going backwards, right? So we all got out of this, COVID-esque nonsense just to be thrown back into it, except for it's going to get worse. And we're already starting to see the downsides of it here in the United States, where certain gas stations are running out of gas. Gas prices are way too high for fucking diesel and what is that, Supreme or premium gas, right? Oh, very good. All right. But here it is. All right, guys. So the lockdown is getting bad fast. I'm going to read you the list quick, but then we're going to break down this this list and its entirety. And the thing is, I talked about this early this week. So they want you to work from home. They want you to reduce highway speeds. They're encouraging public transportation or bike riding or walking to work. They'll want you to alternate private cars access to the roads in large cities and large towns. Increase car sharing and adapt efficient driving practices. Efficient driving for road commercial vehicles and delivery of goods. Divert LPGs or liquefied petroleum gas used for transportation. Avoid air travel where alternative options exist and or are necessary. Where possible, switch to other modern cooking solutions. That one's a pain in the dick, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Leverage flexibility with petroleum feedstocks and implement short-term efficiencies and maintenance measures. All right. All right, so here's one part of it, the working from home. Work from home where possible. Working from home can significantly reduce oil consumption from commuting At the national level, 3 additional remote work days for those whose jobs allow it could cut oil consumption from cars by 2 to 6%, with an average potential reduction of around 20% for individual drivers. So this is what and they're saying they're looking out for you. They're really not. This is actually for them, and it's also for delivery vehicles. So there are certain countries that need fresh water delivered to them. There are certain countries that, obviously all countries, that need food delivered to them. And so they want to allocate most of the fuel to the delivery trucks. Right? So keep that in mind. Reducing speed on a highway by 10 kilometers or 6 miles per hour, lower the speed limits, uh, can reduce individual drivers' oil consumption by 5 to 10% and overall oil use for private vehicles by 1 to 6%. 1 to 6%. Heavy freight trucks can save around 5% due to their already lower speeds. Encouraging public transportation, shifting travel away from private cars to public transportation such as buses and trains can reduce national oil use for cars by 1 to 3%. Optional, like cycling and walking shorter journeys, can lead to further reduction, except for they don't know. And again, guys, this is like they're shooting from the hip with a lot of these, right? So the IEA, the International Energy Agency, they're shooting from the hip with a lot of this stuff. So, not unfortunately, but you take a lot of this shit with a grain of salt. Don't take it seriously. Alternative private car access on roads in large cities are in different days. Limiting car access is in designated zones to specific days based on their numbered plates could reduce traffic congestion, engine idling, and full extensive stop and go drive, which would save 1 to 5% of national car oil. Now, the freeing up the roads, that makes a little sense. So now people can go to and from work at 6 miles less the speed rate and get there without burning fuel, right? Because traffic, you burn a lot of fuel in traffic. The stop and go shit, you burn a lot of fuel. So that makes a little sense. Increase car sharing and adapt efficient driving practices. These are numbers on how much gas they would save if they do this. Carpooling increases car occupancy and relieves road congestion, reducing travel time and car usage. When combined with eco-driving measures, including checking tire pressures, adjusting air conditioning settings, and efficient driving practices, fuel demand for cars can be reduced around 5 to 8%. Efficient driving for the road commercial vehicles and delivery of goods, eco-driving practices, including regular checks on tire. I don't know why they spell tire with a Y, but whatever. Pressure, reducing idling, and reduction of braking and accelerating, combined with operational improvements such as optimization of vehicle loads, and can reduce fuel demands for road commercials by 3 to 5%. Also, they touch on airplanes. Avoid air travel where alternative options exist. A reduction of around 40% of flights taken for business purposes is feasible in short term and with very high participation in work-related flight reduction campaigns. Meaning they want to ask these businesses, hey, you guys need to cut the shit. Stop taking these fancy flights and start having your meetings in other ways. UK spelling tire. Okay. Fucking Martians. Anyway, where possible, switch to other modern cooking solution. As LPG supply becomes increasingly constrained, greater adaptation to electric and other alternative modern cooking solutions could manage potential cooking fuel shortage alongside measures of conserving LPG and other non-essential applications. All right, so that was how much they could possibly save. I'm sorry, with the air flights, they could save from jet kerosene demand, they could save or reduce 7 to 15% of that fuel. So they can save up to 7 to 15% if they reduce their flights. So working from home can reduce oil consumption from private vehicles used to commute. While not all jobs are suitable for working from home, like firefighting or being a cop, imagine being a cop from home. Hey, stop that. That shit ain't gonna work. Anyway, it can be an effective measure when the job allows for it. In advanced economies, one about one third of the jobs are suitable for remote work, while emerging markets and developing economies, this figure is closer to one fifth. Working from home affects oil consumption differently across regions, depending on the commute distance, car occupancy, average fuel consumption of the car. In most countries, this impact is felt mainly on gasoline demand. However, in countries and regions like Korea, India, and Europe, diesel use is also affected. The effects of working from home also vary by season, largely because of how air conditionings are used in cars. As a result, remote work helps conserve oil during the warmer months. Now, here's the kick in the teeth that they mentioned on another site. Working from home will work until you have to use the AC in your home. Now you're consuming more energy, and a lot of these people that use natural gas for energy, they're going to see that problem. If I'm not mistaken, they're also trying to have these people reduce their energy consumption if they're home during the summer months. What do you think they're going to use to keep warm? I mean, cold, excuse me. And what do you think they're going to keep warm come the winter months? So this is, I don't know. Anyway, the impact from working from home. Commuting accounts for 5 to 30% of cars actively across the regions. As not all jobs are suitable for working from home at the national level, 3 additional remote work days for those whose jobs allow it could reduce oil consumption by 2 to 6%. If an average individual driver shifts from no teleworking to 3 days of teleworking in a 5-day work week, their personal car oil consumption could be reduced up to 20%. Reducing the speed limits on a highway by 10 kilometers or 6 miles an hour. Lowering the limits on highways can reduce oil consumption for passenger cars, light commercial vehicles, and trucks. Countries have already have different speed limits in places across the world, so this typically ranges from 100 kilometers, to 130 kilometers. Impact: reducing its speed on a highway by 10 kilometers. I said, well, I don't know why I said kilometers. Kilometers, sorry. Kilometers can cut an individual driver's oil use by 5 to 10%. Such speed limits reduction may decrease national oil use of a private car from 1 to 6%, depending on local infrastructure and driving habits. Heavy freight trucks save less fuel from a 10-kilometer speed reduction due to their already lower speed. But that also takes them longer to get there, doesn't it? Anyway, because they use highways much more on average than the average car does, each heavy freight truck can still cut oil use by up to 5% when applying such measures. This measure affecting heavy truck primarily reduces diesel demand. As heavy trucks run mainly on diesel, it also lowers gasoline demand, since it's effective passenger cars and light commercial vehicles, where around 85% of the oil use is gasoline. In some markets, such as Korea, India, and Europe, the reduction in energy use from cars will have a notable impact on diesel demand due to the significant share of diesel-powered cars in an overall fleet. No more propane. I wonder if propane is going to be a problem, because they're asking people, when I'm going to get to that in a little bit, when cooking, to use hot plates. And hot plates fucking suck, man. I mean, they really do. I've used it a couple times to like boil my water when they turn the power off in my building. Not power off in my building, sorry, the gas off in my building. So they were doing maintenance when I lived downtown, and they turned the gas off. I used like a camping stove. And I got it to work. It was great. It was great. You kicked Julia out, but the bitch is back. I didn't kick anybody out, but okay. I don't do any of the kicking out, man. And even if she's back, who cares? And here we go. Here we go, Jason. Julia back. Jason sucks. I tell you, I'm entertained by this shit. I'm never like, oh my God, they said I suck. I should go hide. I'm entertained by this shit. Anyway, encouraging public transportation. Shifting travel away from private cars to public transportation sucks, by the way, but such as buses and trains can reduce demands. I do like driving my truck around, but if I have to go downtown Manhattan, I will absolutely take the train or the bus. Only because parking's a pain in the ass. Parking sucks. So in that aspect, I do burn a lot of fuel looking for parking, and when you do find parking, you're going to get hit with a fine because the 13,000 signs that they put on a pole for you to read, it's the worst. You're like, wait a minute, what is that? Is that midnight? Is that midnight to 101? You can't park in this spot, but from 12:01 to about 4 in the morning, you can park there, but only if you're there for half an hour. It's fucking strange, man. They got all these signs. Sometimes you can't park there all night, but you can park during the day. But if you park during the day, you can only park for 2 hours at a clip. It's wild. So that's why I leave my car here when I go downtown. But if I go anywhere else, I'm fucking driving. You know, there is a relaxing feature to walking to work or taking a train. There is, because you don't have to worry about your car, gas, getting into an accident, some asshole cutting you off. There is an allure to that, but outside of that, Joseph's asking, how much does my weighted vest weigh? I have 3 different vests. I think it's 16, 12, 16, and 20 something pounds, and I have a 49-pound vest as well. So I have four vests, not 3. Sorry. And then I have a 50-pound vest. Jason is gay. Now I'm gay. What was that? I suck and I'm gay. Poor Juliet. Listen, let Juliet, cry or whatever it is. I don't care. It is what it is. Anyway, that's that, guys. Right? So the impact for public transportation in some countries, short trips less than 30 kilometers within large cities can account for up to 50% of oil consumption by private vehicles. Depending on an infrastructure, encouraging public transportation could reduce national oil use for cars by 1 to 3%. This measure reduces gasoline demand in most countries, while in regions where diesel-powered cars make up a notable share of the car fleet, such as Korea, India, and Europe, it's also a notable impact on diesel consumption. All right, guys. If you don't mind, hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down. Julia, hit the thumbs down or keep hitting it. I don't care. Whatever makes you happy. If it makes you happy, it's fine. Let's see. Where else we're going? All right. Alternative private access to the roads in the city. Private vehicles are allowed in designated zones in large city on specific days, only based on their numbered plates. Vehicles with odd number plates have access on different weekdays than those with even number plates. This measure reduces traffic congestion, engine idling, and fuel-intense stop-and-go driving. It also reduces local air pollution and improves attractiveness of the city center for the use of bicycling and walking. Sounds like New York. Anyway, impact. Preventing half the cars stock from circulating in cities for 2 days a week would save 1 to 5% of national car oil use. Like the previous measure, the impact is stronger on gasoline, except in countries where diesel-powered cars are more significant. Now, how can the government help, or how can the government enable this? Government can designate specific zone with alternating traffic restrictions. Cars can be assigned to certain days of the week or dates based on their number plates. For example, even number plates on some days of the week and odd number plates on other days of the week. Exceptions can be made for cars with many occupants as well as taxis. Governments can refrain from granting exemptions to non-essential government fleet vehicles. I don't know. I don't know how that would work. I don't know if like firemen and cops fall under that, but nonetheless. Juliet's on a timeout. Oh well. Anyway, all right. So a couple more to talk about. We only got 10 minutes. And anyway, so increase car sharing and adopt efficient driving practices. Individual choices on driving styles, car sharing, and temperature setting can influence fuel consumption. Temperature shift. Imagine someone telling you what to. Anyway, people can choose to share a ride to reduce oil demands and save on other costs such as tolls. Carpooling contributes to oil demand reduction by increasing car occupancy and relieve road congestion, thus reducing travel time. Efficient driving practices such as smoother acceleration, tire pressure with a Y, monitoring and and higher vehicle air conditioning set points can increase fuel saving features. I guess carpooling can reduce oil demand. It allows the same amount of energy to meet a greater share of mobility needed. Now, my understanding, guys, you're going to burn more gas the more weight you have in your car. That's one of the parts they're missing. I understand this because, like, when you have like five fat fucks in your car is weighted down, which means it needs to run a little harder to pull that weight or push that weight, depending on what you have. So they're not accounting for the weight of people in the car, right? Granted, you're now cutting down congestion because you have less cars on the road, but you're still weighing the car down, which is still burning through fuel or more fuel now than if it was a single person in the car, right? So I mean, unless they're equating, they're also calculating. Sorry, the less cars on the road that could balance itself out. I'm not sure, but they did miss that part. All right, combining all these measures together, carpooling for ritual trips, air conditioning measures, and eco driving could lead to reduction of car oil demand by around 5 to 8%. The impact is greater on gasoline, except for where cars have diesel powered cars. All right, how can the government enable this? Government can designate dedicated traffic lanes, like HOV lanes, dedicated parking spots, I guess HOV parking spots, and reduced road tolls for higher occupancy vehicles, and support the use of rideshare apps. Information campaign on eco driving techniques and on the impact of air conditioning on fuel consumption can promote more drivers to change their driving behavior. I'm cranking my AC all the way to fuck up. Fuck these people. Car registration is more expensive, right? I haven't looked this year. I don't want to look. I have to inspect my car actually this week. I'll get it done this week, and I have to register my car again, I think in June. Anyway, but I haven't looked at the price. I don't want to look because I know it's going to be expensive. It's going to piss me off. Julia's probably changing her name to get back on the channel. Imagine. That's awesome. Because then she's going to subscribe to this channel and then make a comment on it and then, whatever. Listen. The whole AC thing, that's like, I get it that, you're going to save on gas, but now they're telling you what to do. And again, this is sort of like, as far as the practices go, this is voluntary. At some point, man, if this thing goes on for a longer period of time, they're going to demand you do this. That's where the problem's going to come from. Anyway, how can the government introduce? All right, so the government can help or enable this by introducing eco-driving techniques as part of the examination to receive a driver's license. You see, there it is. The government can introduce eco-driving techniques as part of an examination to get your driver's license. In short term, they can offer information material to logistic companies and recommend driving scores that can set up a competition for most economic driving style with a company. There they go. Governments often operate their own vehicle fleets and can introduce training for eco-driving technique and put special emphasis on vehicle maintenance, such as tire pressures. Again, with the fucking why. All right, so apparently Julia's been around for a while and she's acting up tonight. She could be drunk. Who knows? Her meds, she could be off her meds. The arm ticket could be kicking in finally. Who knows? New York City drivers don't do eco. Well, there's a lot of people with Teslas and shit now. There is that. Blustery. I don't know what eco driving techniques are. The AC, lowering your AC or raising your AC. Raising your AC is one of them. Tire pressure is the other one. I don't know what the other ones are. Driving at the speed limit? I don't know. I have no clue. But yeah, man, they want to start competitions so that people can see who's going to be the better eco driver. You see this shit that they're doing? They did the same thing with the. Julia said, "I'm pure blood." So then you're off your meds, lady. She said, "Did you miss me?" I listen. I think that's funny. I get it. I'm entertained by this shit. The fact that she changed her name and jumped back on. Anyway, it's funny. Whatever. Um, all right. This is the. Where is it? Let's see. Here it is. No, not this part. Okay, so avoid air travel. Travel for work accounts for a large share, between 20 to 40% of aviation activities. In many cases, travel for work can temporarily substitute by virtual meetings. A reduction of around 40% of flights taken for work is feasible in the short term while maintaining productivity. The impact: very high volume participation to work related flights reduction campaign could yield reduction in jet kerosene or jet fuel, demands between 7 to 15%. They call jet fuel jet kerosene. Anyway, how can the government implement this? A government can launch campaigns to encourage companies to limit air travel for work when possible. Governments can lead an example by limiting air travel for public officials, encouraging more meetings to be taken virtually. Now, they do mention worst case scenario to, if you're at home and working from home, that you shouldn't have too many virtual meetings. But then they turn around and say, well, if you're a government employee, instead of air travel, you should do virtual meetings. They're sending mixed signals out with this shit. And again, I'm like, where the fuck did they come up with this shit? But nonetheless, guys, now, as it stands, all of this is voluntary. They're suggesting that companies reduce their travel plans. But at some point, the government's going to step in. If this continues to go on longer, the government's going to step in and demand that these companies do it, and tell them when and where they can go. That's going to be a bigger issue down the line. Now that's business shit. That's not my shit. So I don't really care for it. But I don't really care for it. All right. No, air transportation fuel. Jet fuel demand accounts for around 7% of the global oil demand. Jet fuel market looks to be particularly vulnerable to an extended loss of Middle Eastern production and export, given limited flexibilities elsewhere to increase output. Now, a lot of airlines are, like I said, I think the last time and this morning on the midweek report, they are sorry, they're going to start canceling flights when the jet fuel problem becomes bigger. So different destinations, like low traveled areas, are going to have flights canceled first. Blustery, thank you for the 5 minutes heads up. They're going to experience this first. So let's just say West Bumblefuck, Wisconsin somewhere, West Bumblefuck, North Dakota, they're going to cancel flights there. So they'll have you fly into a bigger city perhaps, and then you got to take a plane, a bus or whatever it is from there. I can see them doing that. That's going to be a mess. But before they start doing that, they're going to give people a heads up that maybe they shouldn't leave their home state. And then people are going to have to drive every fucking where. That could be a possibility. All right. The last but not least. Last but not least. Sorry. Constraints on LPG, fuel. LGBT is liquid petroleum gas, right? And this constraint supply could have significant implications for households that rely on fuel for cooking. LPG is the main fuel used for fundamental services like cooking by 2.3 billion people in Asia. Some households own multiple modern cooking technologies like LPG or electric stoves, and others could afford those incentives. And others could afford those incentives. Now, electric stoves here in New York City are being put in for every new building they put in. So there's no more gas-run stoves. My building and older buildings like this, we still have gas stoves. They were looking to replace these gas stoves, cap off the gas with and change it out with electric stoves. That's the idea. But too many people are fighting that tooth and nail. They're looking to change out a lot of restaurants and have them cook on electric stoves. And a lot of restaurants are telling kids a dick, right? So they're being met. And this is Eric Adams bullshit a couple of years ago, right? So keep that in mind. Let's see. Targeted campaign could help users switch to other modern cooking alternatives and reduce reliance on LPGs, liquid petroleum gas. That's what it is. LPG is propane. Is it propane? All right, I didn't know that. I thought propane was propane. Thank you. This could mitigate the risk of fuel shortage, which could pose significant challenges in households with limited abilities to switch to alternative fuels. It could also face rapid rising prices for other cooking fuels, especially in urban areas. In many rural areas, rising fuel prices are already driving some households to revert to charcoal and or wood, undermining long-term objectives to extend universal access to clean cooking. This has implications for air quality and health. They're talking about burning coal and wood because a lot of places wanted to get away from that. Now they're going back to it so that they can cook, but now they're talking about there's going to be air quality issues. You can't have it all, my friend. Using biomass as a traditional cooking fuel is associated with around 2.5 million premature deaths globally each year. Impact: 20 countries that make up 90% of the LPG use for cooking, between 5 and 15% of the households relying on LGBT already have access to alternative modern cooking solutions and could encourage the use of or prioritizing it. Sorry. For households that rely exclusively on LPG for cooking, facilitating access to alternative modern cooking solutions such as electric stoves and or electric pans, which suck as well, could further reduce the demand subject to available equipment and stock and supplies. That's another fucking problem they're going to have. The supply chain shortage is also going to come out of this whole gas thing. Anyway, for around half of these households, a basic alternative would be less than 5% of monthly income. Targeted incentives can improve the affordability, provided supply chains can accommodate the increased demand. Like I said, there's going to be a supply chain issue, right? So keep that in mind. LGN is natural gas, right? LGB is liquid propane gas. Yeah, well, there's a lot of countries that also use liquid natural gas as well. That's another fucking problem, another headache they're going to run into. All right, what can the government do to step in? Governments can encourage those households to use their electric devices more when they own it, or support greater electric appliance adoptions. Excuse me, or adoptions with targeted incentives to lower income families. Any incentive scheme could prioritize those limited resources, and considerations should also be given to the availability of appliance stocks and grid capacity. That's the other problem. They're going to tell everybody, don't use your gas, don't use your propane, let's go over to electric. But now you have a lot of people using electric, which might pull or strain their electrical grid system. Can't have it all. This is just going to turn into a shit show, my friend. Big time. Julia, thank you for the heads up. Everybody else, thank you for the heads up. It is 10:01. I'm going to go off the air now. I will see some of you guys on the Angry Truth channel. Julia, see you on the Angry Truth channel, maybe. Thank you for joining me, guys. I appreciate it as always. Someone remind me later to put the PDF file in the chat. Matter of fact, oh no, I thought I had it at the ready. I don't. Let's see. Give me 2 seconds. I do have it at the ready. All right. So this is the page itself. Look at the page. Do what you will with it. And you can download the PDF file from this page. All right, guys. Other than that, thank you for joining me. Appreciate it as always. Thanks, guys.